Hello?
Well, greetings and a most heartfelt salutations. Welcome, everybody, to the finale of Loki episode 6 for all time, always, right here on iStream, Ustream, part of the New York Nerds Network, New York Nerd Show Network. We'll make that a thing, right?
Absolutely.
I am Lord Cash, being joined by AllThatPat, and this is our Easter egg reveal. So we're going to dive into all of those Marvel Cinematic Universe Easter eggs. So with that being said, if you have not seen the last episode of Loki, we do want to warn you, there will be spoilers ahead. So just keep that in mind. If you do go past the fence, you're at your own fault for, getting some spoilers in the face.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see these these Easter eggs again, guys. If you have not seen any of our shows, make sure to go back and check them out. Even if you've already seen the episodes, like say WandaVision, you may have missed a lot of things. So make sure to check out all of our uploads on our YouTube channel for iStream, Ustream, and you'll see some of these Easter eggs then. But here are the new ones for our final episode of Loki. I don't know what you're going to show us. I can't wait to learn today.
All right, so these are in no particular order. These are the ones that really stuck out to me. There may be some more. So at the end of the video, if there was something that I did not go over that you feel is very, very important, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know which ones I may have missed that I may not have known about. So with that, in no particular order, I am going to start with a very specific one. I am here in Orlando, Florida. Yesterday would have been my 22nd anniversary with the Walt Disney World Company. That being said, my first Easter egg is that of a hidden Mickey.
I didn't even notice that.
Right off the bat, I saw that and I'm like, straight up a hidden Mickey. Now typically, the ears are just a little bit bigger and they do connect to the actual, head face of that. But I'm sorry, you looking at that, this is a Marvel property owned by the Disney company.
Right.
That's a hidden Mickey. I'm sorry.
All day long. That's one of the best ways to pass time when you're in a line at the park. So
absolutely,
that's that.
All righty. So now another one. We start off by when Mobius comes back to the TVA and goes in to confront Renslayer, and basically she calls for reinforcement, and pretty much she's like, that's not a good idea. And basically we jump to Fremont, Ohio in the year 2018. Now what's special about 2018 is that is when the events of the snap happened.
Okay, I was wondering if there's this particular precedent almost to that year, because I was thinking about 3 years ago. I didn't know what the reference was.
Yeah, so that is when the events of Infinity War take place. That's when the snap happens. Now, as far as you look at this, and there's on the poster, there's homecoming. So in theory, this could be towards the end of the school year, which I believe is roughly when the snap does take place.
Okay,
but I'm not 100% certain of that.
Sure.
And again, the first Spider-Man MCU movie is called Homecoming.
Right. Yeah.
That's when it takes place during that time frame. So it's maybe a little bit further along because Spider-Man has gotten a little bit more technology, a little more advancement, dealing with Tony Stark and whatnot. So who knows?
Right.
But that being said, that's when this actually takes place. Now, what's interesting is we saw the pin that Renslayer had at the beginning, like in episode 2 or whatever, when Mobius and Renslayer were talking, and I was like, oh, I don't remember this pin. And it was from Franklin D. Roosevelt High School. And if you look on the far left, there's a picture of FDR because that's the high school that they're going to.
Well, and it gets revealed that she works there, or she's like a principal there or something.
So she's the vice principal of FDR High School. But what's interesting is if you look behind B-15, you will see that there is a Ohio State University college diploma. And the name on that is Rebecca Terminant.
Okay.
So that is actually Renslayer's real name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. And was there something to like when in the episode they said something about like that's not really her or something like? Did I pick up on that wrong, or am I way off?
Yeah. So in that same shot where they're coming in here, you've got the TVA agent saying, Judge Renslayer, and B-15 is like, that's not her.
Right, because she hasn't become her yet. Is that kind of like?
Well, possibly at some point during her tenure at FDR, something happens and she gets pruned.
Right.
Or she gets, she becomes a variant.
Yes.
So maybe she embezzles, school funds. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe someone was supposed to win the homecoming and she's like, nope, I'm going to put this guy's name down instead. And that happens. So, but with that, what's really interesting is in the comics, she is actually known as Rebecca Terminant. That's one of her aliases. And I've already gone on the record of saying that Renslayer and Kang are a couple. And so right here it says, good citizen, let's give a timely welcome to the woman and her agreed-to-be bride, Rebecca Terminant, my dear. See, Kang, isn't this a much better way to rule time together? Time will tell, my dear. So that right there is a version of Kang that has dealings with Renslayer as Rebecca Terminant.
Is there a possibility that he who's at the end of time or whatever is going to be Kang in some fashion, or will a variant of him become Kang?
I will say with 127% certainty that is Kang. So the actor that plays him is Jonathan Majors.
Okay.
And has been revealed that Jonathan Majors is playing Kang in the Ant-Man and Quantumanium. So
interesting.
Yeah, so if you check out IMDb for that, it's listed. He is Kang the Conqueror.
There you go.
So with that, we see. In fact, I'm looking here for my little blurbage.
I want to say that you also pointed out in a previous episode that like Kang's ship or something was in the background of a shot. I could be making that up, but I thought there was something when Alioth was going around and causing all that havoc, that there was like a symbol of Kang the Conqueror, but I could be totally making that up, and I'm not looking to get us off track if I just dreamt that. I don't know.
I don't recall that. I do know that Kang, and he literally says it right in his explanation of him, he conquers Alioth and utilizes him as the guard dog to time.
Yeah, he weaponizes him, I think is exactly how
So with that, that's straight out of the comics. That's what happened. And I know I mentioned that last week when Alioth was shown. I was like, there's your connections between Alioth and Kang. So there was a good chance that that's in there.
And yes, we have a request for the song I Am a Survivor as his theme song.
So with that, trying to figure out which the best is. He introduces himself as He Who Remains.
Yeah.
Now, technically, in the MCU,
right,
there is someone called He Who Remains, but he looks a little bit different. He looks a lot older, and everything, but he is supposedly the last member of the TVA, and therefore he now creates the TVA by sending them, going back in time and creating the TVA to prune time and kind of causing that circle motion of time travel, so to speak.
Yeah, I want to go through some old comics now. I just want to like grab like a like a 20-issue chunk, and just start going through them because, like, I don't know. I read a ton of comics growing up, but like, I don't. Again, 60, 70, 80 years of material. I just love to see like some of these like representations in like Thor, anything. Like
Yeah. I feel.
Well, I don't need to collect anything else.
So here's what you do though. You get a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, and it's all digital. You just have it on a tablet, an iPad, something of that nature, and you just digitally read everything.
I'm gonna be honest with you though, not to go off topic, but I really buy comics to look at the old ads. I love to kind of like get the story, but like, oh, cool, Beetlejuice on Game Boy, nice, like.
So with that, there is another thing. Like, as He Who Remains starts kind of going through his storyline, not sure if you actually noticed this, but he shows them actually like his variants are what created the time doors.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because like that very much explains the whole traveling, so to speak.
Yep. And then of course that was going from dimension, alter dimension, not just through time.
Yeah.
They also created the reset charges,
mm-hmm.
the pruning sticks, as I've dubbed them, and then of course, by chance, do you remember this little commercial at the beginning of episode 1 where they go about how the TVA was created, right?
Oh yeah, when Loki first arrives at the TVA.
Yep. So it kind of goes in talking about how the timekeepers, they, after the multiversal war, they found out that this was the sacred timeline.
Right.
Of course, you've got all your people that are now variants. You're going through your life and something happens and boop, you stray off a little bit and you get marked as a variant.
Right.
Right here, you've got a war right there. That's your multiversal war that happened. So I'm wondering if by chance that explanation, 100% exactly what He Who Remains was talking about, except for I'm wondering if the war, the multiversal war, was all the different variants of He Who Remains, i.e. Kang, them trying to conquer themselves and trying to, be the dominant timeline out there versus destroying them all.
Right. I always come back to this, but that could be a similar, connection to when the very first episode as well, when Mobius and Loki first meet. Mobius tells him, Loki, you got to defeat yourself. Having those multiverse versions of you, regardless of Kang or Loki or Mobius himself, you're always going to be in competition with yourself in some fashion. Yeah. So at the end of it, they did have that, sacred timeline that now, He Who Remains is now watching over. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that was mentioned was Sylvie, almost said Sophie, but that's her real name. Sylvie kills He Who Remains. He says, "I'll be seeing you," or "see you soon," or something of that nature.
Yes.
Gives a little wink at her. So,
Yep.
See you soon. And the reason being is because there are multiple versions of Kang out there.
Right, exactly.
So that being said, here are possibly some of the five most recognizable ones.
Oh wow, I didn't realize they were going to be so different. But I guess the Loki, one of them's an alligator, so I guess they could all look different.
Well, it all depends on different timelines. So originally in the comics, Kang's real name is Nathaniel Richards.
Okay.
Do you know anybody within the MCU that has the last name Richards?
Well, of course, yeah. The Fantastic Four, Sue and Reed Richards.
Exactly. This is one of his descendants.
Really?
Yes. And ends up going back through time. And one of his first places that he goes back to time travel is back to ancient Egypt and becomes Rama Tut.
Wow.
The Pharaoh from the future. So first appeared in Fantastic Four number 19.
Yep.
That's where he ends up. And of course, there's a whole storyline where he actually is there with the Fantastic Four and trying to, you know, have all that interaction with that. So there is a whole, like, they're pulling straight from the comics.
Right, and there is going to be a Fantastic Four movie. It's in development, so you might see a connection right there. I can't wait because Fantastic Four is my all-time favorite Marvel property, and it's been done dirty, you know, over the past 20 years. So I cannot. Three times.
We'll go 3 times.
Yeah, if you count the Roger Corman disaster that was never released, but it's a whole story on that.
So you've got that one. The one that's right there in the middle, that is known as Immortus. And I believe that's kind of, they've taken the role of Immortus with the He Who Remains persona and kind of mashed those two personas together.
Sure. Yeah.
And in fact, when he's talking about you know, like, I don't know if they actually like straight out ask him like, what's your name? But he's like, you know, I've been called many things: a ruler, a conqueror, he who remains, a jerk.
Yeah, but the conqueror one, like, definitely, like, you know, hit home where it's like hang the conqueror. So I mean, that kind
of Well, you know, you've got Ramatut, who's your ruler. You've got Immortus, who possibly the jerk. He who remains is he who remains, and then of course Conqueror is you've got King the Conqueror.
Well, now, I would guess it's going to be the one in the middle though, because he's wearing a cape. You know what I mean? Like, it might be just obvious and on the nose, maybe not quite, but you know, he's wearing a cape, and apparently he's also a baker and a candlestick maker. But
now the one that's in the bottom left, that is a character known as the Scarlet Centurion.
Okay.
That's one of the roles he becomes. And does the bottom right kind of look familiar, as if someone else?
Yeah, I was looking at that. It's like a version of Iron Man, basically, you know. Yep. And I'm curious how that would tie in, if at all, and like even the What If series, you know. I mean,
that is Nathaniel Richards as a 16-year-old known as Iron Lad.
I got to get one of these Marvel encyclopedias, because I used to collect the cards, and you would see all these random characters you didn't know. The encyclopedia is probably like this big, just because of all these offshoot characters.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them.
Right.
So, and then there's when he says there is a thing called the Council of Kings.
Okay.
So that's why he's like saying, you know, we'll be seeing you. There's going to be so many more of us out there. So you've got the Council of the Kings on your left side of your screen, and on your right, you've got the other various ones. You know, you've got Kang, you've got Immortus, you've got Iron Lad, Ramatut, the Scarlet Centurion. So you have all of these different versions of Kang the Conqueror that are going to be coming out.
Yep. Awesome.
So
it's going to be, again, a newer character for the MCU. You know, we know he's going to be factoring into at least Loki season 2. But again, that interweaving web of the Marvel Cinematic Universe knows no ends. So he may appear in the Fantastic Four movie, you know, for all we know. Very well possible.
Yep. Now, the other thing that I kind of wanted to share, and that is that of the intro. So I'm going to play a little bit of it, and I'm going to pause it because there's a lot. I don't know if you actually caught all this while listening to it. So here we go.
Oh,
way to go, Tic Tac!
You know, all the different like people talking, and I think it's representing the different time lines kind of coming together. Because even they had like, there's even like a phrase I think from FDR, you know, and from like other like actual true historical figures alongside of the Marvel ones.
Right. So it starts off. You at first you hear that repulsor blaster from Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I literally have written them all down. You've got Sam Wilson talking to Scott Lang in Civil War, saying, way to go, Tic Tac. There's Hope from Ant-Man saying, that's how you punch.
Right.
Right.
You wouldn't have heard of me. Dance off, bro. He's a friend from work.
It's so cool that like you get to hear all these, you know what I mean, during because that bit of Ritz and myself as we were watching it, we're just kind of saying like, this is a new intro. Did we miss this before?
But that's one of the beautiful things is Marvel is constantly reinventing this intro.
Yeah.
After Stan Lee passed away, it was nothing but Stan Lee, imagery.
Yeah.
It was all of his like cameos. When Chadwick Boseman passed away, they redid the intro for Black Panther to be all of him.
Yeah.
As a tribute. And so that they're constantly this is one of those sequences that can always be changed and tweaked just ever so slightly. When WandaVision first started, it was all in black and white.
Yeah, they had different intros, for that show. I think they changed it a couple times, but definitely the first one was black and white. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so we have like Black Panther going, Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man to Sam and Ant-Man going, you don't know who I am because he's a newbie. Black Widow in Avengers go when she's on the phone when she's being interrogated, she's like, let me put you on hold. You get Star-Lord and Galaxy 1, Guardians Against the Galaxy 1 saying, dance off. It was really so by chance, have you heard any of those?
Yeah, like all the different ones in the intro?
Yeah, like were some of those that you actually caught?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I noticed that it was peppered in as well with actual historical figures in real life. Because I actually think there was FDR was in there. And we had mentioned about FDR High School, oddly enough. And like just things like that. So like I know that these are important statements from the different timelines and the movies for sure.
Yeah. So after that, you hear Thor and Ragnarok going, "My friend from work."
Yeah.
Then you hear Steve talking to Steve in Endgame where they're fighting each other. Basically, I can do this, all day. Which of course Steve's like, "I know."
Right.
Hank from Ant-Man saying, "I'll show you ferocity." You hear Captain Marvel from Captain Marvel going, faster, higher, stronger, or whatever it is. You hear Loki in Endgame saying, "We have a Hulk." Kor from Ragnarok, where he talks about, we're going to hop on that ship and just take off. You want to come with us?
Right.
Since he's talking to Loki, then it starts to get a little bit muffled there. And with that, you hear like there's some other ones, and you hear Hulk going, "Puny God."
Right.
And then after you get the Marvel logo there, then you start getting into the like the wormhole and like the planets and kind of just traveling through space, and that is where it changes from MCU quotes to actual characters. So unfortunately, I did not hear an FDR. But I don't know if you're familiar with the Mystery of Time lecture by Alan Watts.
I'm not, honestly, but if
me neither.
Yeah.
I stole that from somewhere else.
Right.
But you'll definitely hear he starts talking about his lecture of time travel and how you perceive time. But then you definitely hear Neil Armstrong's One Small Step.
Mm-hmm.
You hear Greta Thunberg's her climate change rally where like basically saying you should be ashamed of yourself. There's a couple other ones. You hear Nelson Mandela and Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
Now the one that during that whole segment that is kind of odd is they throw in Vision's quote.
Yes.
From WandaVision. What is grief if not love? Persisting or perceiving.
I think it's persisting.
I wrote perceiving by mistake.
No, you're good. On that either way, but yes, I noticed that as well because that was one of the biggest not cliffhangers, but one of the biggest like finales of anything Marvel universe. As far as just like he was very eloquent with how he talked.
Yeah. And then, of course, the last, egg. If by chance you have been living under a rock and you weren't aware, they do make at the very announcement at the very end that season 2 of Loki is going to be happening. We kind of mentioned that they're going to start filming in January of 2022. So we're not sure exactly what that looks like as far as when that's going to hit Disney Plus. But you've got stuff that you've got the Hawkeye series, you've got Miss Marvel, you've got a whole bunch of other Disney Plus shows that haven't even come out yet that are done filming. They are just sitting waiting.
Right, exactly, and it's just like it's that, like you said, it'll feel like forever, but we'll be distracted with all this other content. But
at some point, like March of next year, you're gonna be like, oh wait, weren't we supposed to get a Loki series? Oh, then something new. You're just gonna become like every time you think about, oh cool, another series gonna be popping up. Oh, another one, this one. Oh, Disney Plus. Oh, Star Wars stuff.
Star Wars.
Just you've got all this stuff happening. Like we still have another month of the Bad Batch animated series over on Disney Plus, which if you're not watching that, that's a good show.
I got to get on that. I never liked the animated Star Wars stuff, but
I would tell you, before you watch Bad Batch, you need to watch the Clone Wars.
Ugh, I hated Clone Wars. I only watched like one episode. I'm like, no, I'll give it another shot, but that's for another time.
If nothing else, the last season.
Maybe I'll just skip ahead.
It's 12 episodes. The first 4 introduce the Bad Batch characters. The next 4 introduce a character that you meet somewhere along the way. And then the last 4 are by far one of the most outstanding episodes of Star Wars animation, because it is the storyline of Order 66 from Ahsoka's point of view as episode 3 is happening.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely check that out then, because I'm for anything Star Wars. So I'll take a look at that.
But anyways, this is Marvel.
You know, right?
I know it's all Disney, but definitely hope you enjoyed our reviews, our Easter eggs, dealing with everything with the Loki series, WandaVision, the Falcon Winter Soldiers. If by chance you are late to the game and finding these, we do have all of those on our YouTube channel, so definitely look those up. We do have a whole bunch of stuff that we do and talk about right here on the New York Nerd Show. This is just one of 7 shows that we have currently going on right now. I stream, you stream. Typically happens Thursday nights. Friday is Funko Royalty, where I kind of lead you on through some of my Funko collection. Saturday is Mail Call Mail Time, where we show off what we've gotten in the mail. Sunday is Call the Wild, where we've gone out to those stores to purchase stuff. We'll show you exactly what we've purchased there. Monday is Crazy Card Collecting, exactly that. We collect trading cards, and we will open them on air and show you what we've got. Tuesday is Slam Nation Wrestling, where we will talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. And finishing up our week is Wednesday, the Game Room, where something is going to be played, a game of some sorts, and talked about. So definitely check us out on all of those. We do ask that you like and subscribe to the New York Nerd Show, either on Twitch, Facebook Live, or YouTube. So that way, if by chance we do some sort of special show, you get notified of this. And
we do a special contest every month for our subscribers. So make sure you're subscribed, and you could possibly have your name pulled out of the virtual hat.
There you go. So, and of course, we always like to tell you to spread the word of the nerd, because we like the love. Exactly. Warm hugs. So anyways, anything else that you would like to share from this episode, from this series? I purposely did not give you the ad comment.
Anyway, watch the show. Watch our other shows. Brian's breaking my heart over there.
I do.
Previous episodes, you'll hopefully understand that. But until then, guys, have a great night.
And as they say, if you can stream it, go watch it. Bye-bye, everybody.
Adios.
Hello?